stone.
Changing your mind about who's playing doesn't cause me any extra work at all there, Scott. It's fine.
Slightly surprised they went after the two in the wing there, and again slightly surprised that John Joe's electing to hit this. He's lying 3. There's not really any need to hit the fourth shot in the house.
You be guarding that one?
I think you would have to guard the one in the centre line. You may well be worried that there's a double takeout there, but
I think it maybe just goes to show how cagey these games may end up being.
yeah, but a good chance now possibly for the Wilson Rink to play a nice hit and roll here. But I think the beauty of it being the best of 5, if you go 1-0 down, it's not a huge disaster.
No.
Straight away again, they're sweeping straight out his hand, so he's obviously slightly inside the brush. And what would I know? Great shot. I think one thing's for sure, Peter Wilson could be facing a couple or 2 or 3 at least blue counters with his last stone this end.
Yeah, again, it's just pressure, isn't it? And certainly the Kenny Rink has started this game pretty well. They'll probably be happier with the way the first quarter of this game's gone.
Yeah, very much so.
I'm delegating one of my jobs here, Scott. Too many things to do, so.
As long as you're not delegating it to me.
So 4 blue stones lying about again. As Peter Wilson comes to play his first.
Yeah, certainly a chance here of a double. I think if he can catch the one just to the right hand side of PJ as we look at it, and roll over to the left and possibly bump the other one out the house as well.
I think this is a wee bit of a case of too many stones lying about as well.
For Kenny Rink?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, David. I think they've obviously decided that they didn't want to throw any short ones this end. They had the opportunity earlier on, as we mentioned. I think it's just trying to put as many stones in the house now. Even if Peter plays a perfect shot here, I think blue will still be lying 1.
gap there. There's a gap.
Well, I don't know what happened to that. I thought he was wide, if anything, but they were sweeping obviously to try and maybe even get the other one first.
Yeah, I wonder if he changed the target stone halfway down there.
I think Peter Wilson's telling PJ that it wasn't his fault.
We'll send you down to do the half-time interval interviews, Scott. We'll find out then.
Yeah, PJ Wilson's son and I certainly have had plenty of games against each other in the past, so if you're listening, John, I hope you're well. I don't know what the call is here. I think they're possibly just trying to put another one in the house. I think I'd be tempted front ring.
Top 12 would be quite nice.
Yeah, and just try and put a wee guard on it as well, and really put the pressure on. I mean, Peter's got to have to draw away his last one.
Yeah, and again, he certainly seemed to have the weight at the last end following the practice, but it's just I suppose it's a hammer switched after two ends if he is forced to take his one, or does take his one. He'll certainly want the one now. A wee bump here's not bad, though.
No, I think there's got to be a lot of pressure on Peter, and it is just going to have to be the draw.
Yeah, just ignoring any kind of backing with that ice, I would say.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're going on the out turn. I would be more tempted to play the shot in the other hand, but they're obviously confident of the ice and weight. He's not wasting any time in the hack.
How's it looking, Scott, out the window sweepers on that?
I think he looks slightly heavy, but
The sweepers have stopped at the hog line.
I think this could be a steal of 5.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's the fifth.
Well, I have to say that is disappointing after having 10 minutes practice, or 9 minutes practice in a draw shot challenge, to miss a shot like that at this level.
Yeah, he's going to be disappointed with that.
Maybe just as well we don't have the player mics on them this game.
Yeah, on agree. See I don't know if the umpire having a chat on the side there, Scott. Just if I put the other camera back on there, he's maybe just getting bored. Go for a wee chat.
I don't think the Wilson rink will be wanting to chat.
Third end. John Joe Kenny will be a little bit disappointed his Blue Stones out front there, I suspect.
Yeah, and I think this is this one's short as well. I think it's certainly given the Wilson rink something to work from and or to work with even and try and get one in behind there.
Yeah, all thoughts of a nice tidy end have vanished, I suspect, which from our point of view is good.
Yeah, I think we should really start to see a few stones in play now. Certainly Wilson and his team will be trying to get as many stones in play as possible. 6-0 down after 2 ends in an 8-end game. It's I think it's a big ask for them to overturn it now. You never know though. You just need to put the Kenny team under a bit of pressure, and you never know what can happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's a bad stone either from Tom Roach. Just short certainly better than through the back here. So
yeah,
gives a few options. Yeah, we're actually playing a game just in the aforementioned Smith competition. We were 7-0 down after 2 ends on the Monday night. We did get it back to 7-6, I think, and then lost to 4. So
yeah, no, it can be done.
I think it is fair to say that for it to actually happen, you need both teams to make and let it happen.
Yeah, I think the Kenny rink, and certainly at this level, you wouldn't expect it to happen. John Joe's obviously very experienced, being the world senior champion in 2012. So I would be surprised if he gives the Wilson rink a sniff at any chance of victory.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the next 3 stones from the Kenny rink will all be hits. Try and tidy that front up a wee bit.
Yeah. And I think really now, Wilson really should be trying to get in here, get in behind the guards and try and use them guards. But as you rightly said before, David, short is certainly better than through the house.
Hanging on at the back and leaves you a problem though, because I reckon he still has to go for the guards here. There you go.
Yeah, well, I must admit, I think being 6 up, I would be tempted to try and take as many of them guards off as I could.
Yeah, if you could tell my brother that, we might have some less anxious finals in the future.
And I think we'll see Wilson ignore that stone in the house and try and draw around.
Yeah, with the added advantage that anywhere on that line is covering the one at the back 12 as well.
Yeah.
And keep an eye on the yellow on the right hand side as a guard. That one could come into play at some stage.
Yeah. So a well played end here from the Wilson team, and they certainly could get a score of 2 or 3 back.
Comes the swing. It's maybe not swinging as much as they anticipated.
It's starting to swing now though, and you can see the sweeper on the left as we look at it trying to pull it over.
Yeah, stones are finishing quite nicely, so maybe just a wee fraction high on release there.
Yeah, I think on this occasion we'll blame the player for throwing it slightly wide rather than Peter for having the brush in the wrong place.
It's never the skip's fault, Scott, you should know that.
Absolutely. This is a lovely shot by Bill Gray. Nearly got the 2 of them.
I was just going to say, as Peter puts the brush down there, they'll be keen to roll away from that centre line now. Although it does give the John Joe a chance to roll in behind.
Yeah, I think certainly the Blue top of the house is will be lying second shot as well, so Blue will be lying 2 at the moment.
So going by that, would you be looking to roll out to the wing, or would you be keener just to... He's maybe just rolled too far, he can't do anything but...
I think this is swinging and they're possibly... Yeah, that was not a good shot. I mean, I think to bring for the Wilson rink, if they were wanting to bring that back yellow into play, they were going to have to make a play in the one top left that John Joe is looking at the moment. It's obviously a lot closer than we think, but as Kenny has pointed out, it is certainly line 2. I have to say, this game is very much one-sided so far.
Yeah, it is, and as I was saying before, those that watched these games last year would have been expecting 5 close games, which may well still be the case in the remaining 4 games, of course. But the Kenny Rink will be very happy with the start they've made to this game.
Yeah, very much so. I believe the Scottish Senior Championship qualifiers are on this weekend. I think there's some teams up in Forfar and other teams in Ayr trying to qualify for the finals later on in the year.
Yeah, split over the 2 ice rinks. Very good entry for the seniors level. Certainly, I'm dubious. We have a number of local rinks. We'll leave it to that. Certainly, we've got rinks skipped by Graham Adam, David Hardy, and Jim Hogg. Certainly 2 out of 3 of them are down as Dumfries. I'm not entirely sure what Graham Adams maybe
possibly Greenacres, yeah, and obviously there's Jim Black out of Lockerbie,
Billy Nairn I think as well.
Yeah, but I think that's the same team.
Same team, right?
Yeah. I don't know who's skipping that. They seem to swap and change. Anyway. Yeah.
It must be a Black family trait. Not quite going into competition not knowing who's skipping. Scott, would that be right?
No comment.
Who's skipping your Scottish rink this year?
Graham.
Obviously,
Graham, the son of Jim. We are heading off to Braehead tomorrow morning to start our qualifying for the Scottish finals. So we've got 3 games at Braehead this weekend and another 3 the following weekend here at Dumfries.
And quite a tough start for you looking at the draw.
Yeah, I think we've got our hardest 3 games. Certainly the first weekend. This weekend, I think we'll be quite happy if we can come out of there with ideally 3 wins, but I think even 1 or 2 wins this weekend would see us in a good position coming into Dumfries.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Braehead quite often do some web streaming of their own, so that may be on the Braehead website. Certainly the following weekend you'll be back down here in Dumfries.
Yeah.
And that will certainly be covered. We're going to cover basically a game for every draw there is. I think it was 8 games we're covering next weekend. So again, if you want to volunteer for some commentary or some of the technical side, you'll be made more than welcome.
Maybe a good idea to keep your player mics in the box for that weekend as well, David.
Well, we thought we maybe test them with one team. But going by that comment, we'll maybe scrap that idea. The comment and the look I just got. So yeah,
depends on what team. Anyway, John Joe and his team have again played a good end. Peter Wilson's certainly going to have to try and make a double here and lie. And may well not even be shot after that. Blue might still be lying 1.
It's always a good telltale sign of a game if the skip's playing a lot of guards, generally playing pretty well as a team. It's safe to say Peter Wilson hasn't had to play a lot of guards so far, reflecting in the scoreline.
Yeah, I have to say I've been slightly surprised at the performance Peter Wilson and his team have put in over the first couple of ends. Again, he's slightly tight here again.
I think he'll get the double, does he? He does.
He does, but the shooter rolls out. So
If you kind of think that yellow one at the back's got to be in your mind just to obliterate, but they're going the attacking option.
yeah, I think because they're lying one anyway.
Yeah, fair point.
We're in the third end. They've had the 10-minute practice, so he should by now know his draw weight. He's just thrown a draw with his last one. If he can get one in behind, or maybe even half showing, he's going to force Wilson to take in his one. Is there a minimum amount of ends they have to play?
I'm guessing 6, but it might be one of these cases. Try stopping them walking off.
Yeah, I think in an 8-end game, certainly that is normally the norm. And 10 ends throughout a championship, you normally have to play at least 6 ends, and then when you get to final level, then you have to play 8 ends. So.
Yep, particularly the televised games, obviously. I hasten to add, we're not putting any stipulations on the webcast for how many ends they have to play. Maybe we should have.
Well, I can go down after this end and tell Peter Wilson if you want that he has to play 6 ends.
I think they'll still be at the stage where they'll want to carry on.
Yeah, I think and yet again a good shot from John Joe. It just maybe didn't swing quite as much as he thought it would, but
The double will be tempting, you Scott? Or would you look to get on the scoreboard?
I think I would look to get on the scoreboard and take my one. Having said that, 6 down, you almost need your 2 to get back into the game. PJ Wilson standing here.
To say he doesn't look convinced.
Yeah. It looks like that's what they're playing. I think it's safe to say that Peter Wilson isn't the player he was back in '98 when he played third to Dougie Drybra's rink, in the Dougie Drybra rink. That was when back then the Olympic teams had a qualifier,
That's
a bit
right.
like the Canadian system where they had to qualify to represent GB at the Olympics.
And what a shot here. What a shot.
That's a great shot.
There you go. Bringing back the 98 form.
Absolutely.
And the crowd's gone wild up here.
And that might be the spark the Wilson rink need to get back into this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just you do get the games where you just occasionally play better without the hammer. So it may just kick off something now.
Yeah, I think the ice conditions can determine that as well. Certainly on very straight ice, sometimes it's easier to try and steal than it is to take 2. But yeah, going back to the 98 qualifying, I do believe for the Olympics, I do believe that Dougie Drybra beat Hammy McMillan in the final that year, and with Peter Wilson and his brother Philip Wilson, both Stranraer boys, beating Hammy in the final. I think there certainly wasn't much love lost.
No, it's big competition, and I have to say, from my point of view, dare I say it's certainly quite a nice competition to have. You look at the Canadian system, and I mean, the Roar of the Rings competition was a fantastic watch online. Loads of good curling there, and arguably better than a normal Briar because of the way the Briar works. That some good teams are knocked out early doors. It really was the top level teams in Canada that were playing that.
Yeah.
Some fantastic shot making. Of course, Brad Jacobs coming through that to represent Canada in the mains, and Jennifer Jones for the ladies, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, no, I think that is right, David. Yeah. think both the men and the women's GB teams will be ramping up their preparations now. So it's only a few weeks away before they'll fly out to Sochi.
Yeah, it's getting very real now, I suspect. I see Eve Muirhead's team are out.
I think they're in Switzerland.
Yep.
I think they had a good win their first game, 7-2.
I believe they beat a Russian team in their second game as well.
They did, right? Yeah, good. And I think from there they fly straight to
on
the Continental Cup.
Of course,
so they've got
Las
that.
Vegas.
Yeah.
And that could be another cracking competition. How do you think the two Olympic teams will get on in Sochi?
I think, being realistic, they've both got a chance of medaling. I do think the girls have got a slightly better chance than the men have. But you can never write Mr. Murdoch and his team off.
No, things can come together for any team on any given week. So
Yeah, I think he's certainly the most experienced or the skip that we have in Scotland.
yeah, I think that's a fair point coming to the Olympics when
he's skipped Scotland to two World Championships, 2 World Championship golds. So that was 2 or 3 years ago now. He probably would win his last one. So. Yeah, there's certainly going to be a bit of pressure on the boys. There's no two ways about that. I think they brought Tom Brewster back into the rink at the Perth Masters, having lost their first 2 games, and I think they only played obviously a triple knockout. They lost their first 2 games and then won their 3rd game, but lost their 4th game, and that was them out. So, having said that, there was possibly. There 5 or 6 Olympic teams represented at Perth last weekend, and I think Ulsrud from Norway was the only one that made the Sunday, made the quarter-finals. So.
Yeah, Nicholas Edin I think had a very similar results. I think he was 4 games and out.
Yeah. So I think there's the men's is certainly more open, I think, than the women. I think there's obviously the threat from Canada with the women. And the Chinese girls that have beat Eve in our team once or twice this year. But other than that, I think if Eve plays her normal game and turn up and play well, they'll certainly be the team to beat.
Yeah, they will take a bit of beating, and it was quite interesting listening to the Roar of the Rings coverage when they were going through Sweden and Switzerland and Russia and China as being potential opposition. They never even mentioned Eve Muirhead in Scotland. Sorry, Great Britain.
Great Britain, of course, David. Yeah.
Some good local representation going to the Olympics, of course. Your cousin, Scott?
Yeah, she plays lead in the Eve Muirhead rink. And obviously, David Murdoch and Tom Brewster both started their curling at Lockerbie.
Yep, absolutely. And then you've obviously got Anna Sloan.
Yes, not forgetting Anna and Vicky Adams from Stranraer. So Dumfries and Galloway are certainly well represented.
5 out of the 10. It's pretty impressive number, really.
Yeah.
The cynic may just say simply that curling is the obvious thing to do down here. Not true at all. We struggle like everybody else up against other sports, but a good tradition of playing the game down here. Yeah,
I think there's certainly going to be a lot of focus on the men's rink. and how they perform out in Sochi. But hopefully, come the time, everybody will be rooting for them.
Well, I think no matter what your opinion of how the team was made up and the decisions that have been made, it's probably time just to support them through the event now, because at the end of the day they're taking part, and they'll be wearing the GB colours. So just hope they come back with a medal of some description. So what are you thinking of this end setup?
Well, I think Wilson looked like he'd started to set up quite a good end, but that stone there has really killed anything that Wilson has done. The crowd seem to like it. There's one or two claps in the background. If Peter can get a good one in here though, try and get top of the house and fully buried, then that'll certainly put a bit of pressure on Kenny and his rink.
Yeah, we're starting to see just what we saw last year, some very attacking play from both teams.
Yeah, I would imagine both teams will know each other pretty well. I'm sure they've played each other plenty of times in the past.
It's another pretty decent effort. Just a wee bit high, I think. It's not bad. Inside's hidden, I think, by the guard. So
yeah, possibly room for another 2 stones on top there. So even if the Kenny rink do get a good one, sitting right on top of that yellow, if Peter Wilson can get an even better one sitting on top with his first stone, then it'll almost kill the end. This looks very wide at the moment though.
It does. It looks a wee bit high and heavy, which is never a great combination.
Bill Gray's been playing pretty well up until now, but again, look at that swinging right at the end. Just slightly heavy though. It's bounced, is it?
It has bounced. It's not bounced very far.
Well, he's got maybe a chance now though, Peter, if he can just play a back ring or even hack weight, try and hit and roll over just as he's indicating there. He may well find himself lying 2 yellows in a pretty good position.
Yeah, line 2 yellows and might also free up that back blue as well in doing that.
That looks a fair bit of ice that they're taking. I think I would probably play a wee bit of running at this. We might as well try and lie 2 here.
I just wonder about playing a good bit of running.
Yeah, I think just even, just I think barrier weight, catch 3/4 of the blue shot stone on the inside as we look at it on the right hand side. Roll the shooter over to behind the 2 yellow guards. The yellow in between the 2 blues isn't going anywhere.
No.
But they've obviously elected not. This is a lot of ice. They're obviously just. It may well even be the dead freeze they're playing. They're sweeping this hard. This is swinging now.
That's got a wee bit of weight on it. Good encouragement from Peter Wilson there. It's not bad. It's taking his feet the blue.
Well, it certainly has. It's yellow lie 1.
This is the kind of end that time clocks were invented for.
Yeah, again, both teams should be fairly experienced with playing with time clocks, but it's amazing how quick the time does disappear.
We can't actually see the time clocks from where we're sitting. I'm just going by 50 minutes and we've only got 3 stones left in the end, so I'm assuming they shouldn't have any major problems on the clocks.
How much time do they get for any end game, David? Do we know?
It's was it 70 for 10 ends, isn't it?
73. So that's... Well, a quick calculation and tapping frantically on our mobile phones calculators here to try and work it out.
You meant mental arithmetic, didn't you?
Absolutely. We think about 59, 60 minutes, possibly.
Which would kind of make sense. 2 hours for an 8-end game. That seems semi-sensible. We might send a roving reporter downstairs to find out.
Peter Wilson having a bash at this one.
Oh, it looks quite good.
Yeah, great shot. Great shot. He's starting to come onto a bit of form. He is very animated when you watch him on the ice.
Just you won't be able to see it, Scott. We'll just cut to a replay of that one. See both Blues just disappear straight out. Loses the 1 yellow, but pretty nice result all around.
And really the first time in the game that John Joe Kenny's been under a bit of pressure. Draw the 4 foot against 2. He has got a bit of backing.
It's got a bit of backing, but it's not overly tight to the guard, the backing, so it should be okay.
They don't look too concerned over it. The sweepers are tickling it. They're on and off it, and I think it'll take the swing quite nicely here. And
I think it needs to pull a bit. I think he's running off it.
Yeah, it's swinging it. Yeah, 1 blue, I think.
I'm happy with it. Now, something else we should have found out. Do we have a 4th end break?
I would be surprised, but there doesn't seem to be much urgency to be getting on the hack and playing the next end. The umpires there, of course, being seniors, David.
It looks like the ice is going to get a quick run up and down. Now, it'd be interesting to know actually, because on the timing software, I think it's a minute between ends.
Yeah.
Gives us a wee chance just to have a look around the rest of the ice rink, see what else is going on. A couple of junior games, club game on the left hand side there, and up in the top right hand corner you see a group of people standing about. I assure you they're not standing about, they're being coached. Graham's got one of his club development, I believe that's the Dumfries club. It's in for a bit of kind of game tuition and sort of slide improvement. It's one of the areas I know Graham's focusing on this year is in sort of regular curler improvement, just to try and build the standard of games.
I think it's safe to say that he does do a great job here at Dumfries. And when I came in just half an hour before this game started, there was certainly 2 or 3 sheets with junior curlers, junior games on.
Yeah, I mean there's junior curling on 5 nights a week now, and it's normally that's covering at least 1 session. Quite often it's 2 sessions as well. I know the junior club's in really good health. I wouldn't want to put a number on it, but I know it's over 60. Certainly Ian Jimison and Wendy Murray doing a good job helping Graham out there. I know they kind of do a lot of the admin work for Graham.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic for the future of the sport, and certainly fantastic for Dumfries that there's as many juniors coming through the system. As I say, we've got 4 going to the Olympics in a few weeks' time that started their curling at Lockerbie, and Claire Hamilton, Anna Sloan, Tom Brewster and David Murdoch, but unfortunately we don't seem to have the same numbers coming through Lockerbie now like we did sort of 5-10 years ago.
No, funnily enough, a couple of weeks ago I would have agreed with that. However, I was playing a club game the other week, and I reckon I was in the older half of the people on the ice. Something like Corrie have a huge amount of youngsters coming through there. Maybe not quite the same level, but certainly they just seem to have appeared overnight from nowhere, and they're not bad players either. I don't think there is a bad player place for Corrie, is there?
No, I think Corrie's one of, if not the strongest club now at Lockerbie. Certainly the biggest club, I think, in terms of members. noticed young Ross White playing. You can see him actually swinging his brush about there on the right hand side. He's one of the up and coming stars of Scottish curling.
Yeah, I was actually sent a video clip of Ross playing at the Junior Challenge Division 1 the weekend at Murrayfield, and essentially, just to keep it very brief, but the Dumfries guys had to win their last game to avoid relegation, but both of the teams actually won it reasonably comfortably, so they finished second. So obviously quite a tight competition.
Yeah.
The person I'm sitting on my right would probably like me to point out it was 4 for young curlers that won it. But certainly Ross had to play a kind of raised double to make sure of Dumfries' place in the competition Premier Division. And it's a really good shot. Luckily somebody got it on video as well, so that'll be up on our YouTube channel at some stage. That's just youtube.com/Dumfries Curling.
To say, I think, what age is Ross now? Is he 14, 15 years old? He's a fantastic golfer as well. I think he's part of the Scottish Golf Union programme. He goes to Edinburgh for lessons. I think I'm right in saying he's handicap of 6 at the moment.
Which for his age, that's kind of ridiculous, is it?
Yeah, I think certainly for his size more than anything else. You know, for such a wee guy, he doesn't half hit the ball a long way.
Determination. He can throw a good strike weight up there as well.
Anyway, back to the game. Obviously, we're now in the fifth end. The first game here of the Irish Seniors Championship. As David said before, the winner getting to represent Ireland at the World Seniors here in Dumfries at the end of April. And John Joe Kenny and his team of Bill Gray, David White and Neil Fife have made the best start possible and are 7-2 up after 4 ends.
Yeah, a really dominant start by them. Yeah, they've been in total control so far.
Yeah, a piece of magic, I think, by Peter Wilson with his final stone in the third end, which was a great shot to pick up 2. I think that was possibly a sarcastic hold up of the brush and well played from Peter there. He certainly wasn't looking for a pretty poor shot really from Tom Roach to throw when you're 7-2 down. The last thing you want to be doing is putting your corner guards in the house. And a very experienced player, Neil Fife, the lead for the Kenny rink.
Neil's a new addition to this team as far as I'm aware. Certainly having a good game so far. Got his first stone into the house as well, so
A bit surprised to see one of the fifth players for one of the teams warming up over on the side of sheet A. He's obviously maybe going on for a practice.
I'll keep an eye on that just in case somebody does decide to change out.
Some of the stretches he's doing is especially playing in the senior championships. I hope he doesn't take cramp and get stuck in one of them positions.
You saying you don't warm up like that before the start of every game, Scott?
A finely tuned athlete like myself, David, I don't need to do much of a warm up nowadays.
The yellow guard disappears, the shooter is rolling out. I might have been sweeping that to make sure it was out. It's gone anyway. Hate the ones that hang about there. Give teams an option at the end of an end if it gets.
Yeah, or somebody I'll fall over them.
Yeah.
Quite often is the case.
Normally the latter, yep. Notice how it moved on from your finely tuned athletes.
Very quickly.
Yeah. Safer, I felt.
I have to say, after watching the first 4.5 ends here, our predictions that Wilson would win this championship bout in the best of 5 games, I think I would be changing my mind pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'd say, to be fair to Kenny Rink, they just haven't played a stone badly, have they?
They haven't, no, and they actually look the stronger team. I mean, being world senior champions 2 years ago, I think they'll be here to make sure that they've got a chance to go back. Obviously, last year, Wilson beat them in this championship and represented Ireland. So I'm sure Kenny would be will have the bit between his teeth and trying to get back there.
Yeah, they've both had a taste of it, haven't they?
Nice to see both skips having a chat. They obviously know each other very well.
Yeah, like I say, I'd imagine they've played 1 or 2 games against each other.
I'm sure if the game does go to the decider, you'll see the 2 skips saying a lot less to each other in a one game decider. And it's 2 games they've got tomorrow, David, and then they've got another potential 2 games on Sunday if it goes all the way. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly that. 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock tomorrow. So if you're in the Dumfries area, Dumfries and Galloway, or even just fancy having a wee drive out, I'd say certainly the standard of the games so far today, and I think it's likely the games are going to be a bit more even tomorrow. Fantastic to come and watch. If not, we'll be web streaming them through until the end. So live coverage of all 5 games if required.
Again, you'd have to slightly question Peter Wilson's tactics there. I think when you're as far down in the game as he is, 5 down with only 4 ends left, I think you really have to be playing a lot of quieter weights now, sort of just back of the house bumps to try and keep as many yellow stones in play as possible. Try and just knock the blue ones to the back of the house. It always gives the Kenny Rink something to jam on then.
Yeah, you just want stones lying about, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, when you've seen, I think Kenny and his team will be quite happy with this end and how they're setting it up. There can't be too many complaints about the ice. They really are starting to take the swing in the last few yards, but they really do dig in.
Yeah, they're finishing quite well.
Again, we see Peter electing to play the full high hard one. I think he's probably no other option here, but it's pretty important that he leaves this yellow that they're looking to hit, possibly 3/4 stone on the high side. On the right hand side, as we look at it, it's pretty important that yellow locks on the top blue.
It's indicating wide, so change of plan maybe.
I think he is getting nothing here.
And the hand goes to the head, shrug of the shoulders.
Yeah, I think it'll be an early bath. And I'm sure the Kenny Rink's tea tonight will taste an awful lot better, is what the Wilson's tea will.
Oh, I don't speak about food, Scott. I've not had my tea yet myself tonight. I start getting hungry.
Well, I was over in Stranraer today with work and actually stopped off at the Craig and Elder and had a bar meal for my lunch, knowing that I was doing this tonight. Craig and Elder obviously is the hotel that Hammy has just taken over.
Of course, yes.
It's very nice, I have to say.
Good, yep.
Yeah, no, very good.
What did you have?
Macaroni.
Nice.
No, it was lovely.
Running out of options for Wilson now.
I meant to say to Hammy, actually, I did see him today. I meant to say to him that this would be on tonight. I think he certainly mentioned that he's hoping to play in the senior championships next year. Obviously, that's the Scottish championships rather than the Irish ones. But I think the Scottish teams that are playing this weekend should be worried if he's going to be playing the senior championships in Scotland next year. That's for sure.
Well, you actually see some of the names that are in the senior championships now. It's I suppose you could argue it's almost more competitive given the numbers and the talent pool that's there now. I suspect it'll only increase over the years as well.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the draw, but you've got the names of Graham Adam, obviously, and I think Gordon Muirhead possibly as well.
Norman Brown.
Yes, another one.
Well.
Yeah. So Bob Kelly. So there's a number of them that are there or thereabouts. Keith Prentice, obviously, a former world senior champion as well.
Yeah, I see Robin Aitken has his own rink this year.
Right.
Used to play with Keith.
I think getting back to the game, Peter Wilson was looking a bit animated again. His vice skip, PJ Wilson. I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen a handshake after this end, David.
Yeah, I think we'll see exactly how many ends they need to play. I mean, if this goes just where they're holding the brush, there's not a lot on at all.
No, and this all really came about from that. Okay, PJ had a pretty poor stone with his first one at vice skip, but the lead, Tom Roach, put in his first corner guard in the house.
Such an important position, lead. Really does. If your lead's not playing well, you've got really no control over how you want the end to pan out. Yeah,
no, absolutely, and I think even more so once you get to the World Championship level. Once you get to the World Seniors, there's a lot of good teams that'll be playing there. And I have to say, I think Neil Fife will win the battles of the lead this weekend here at Dumfries.
Yeah, you would say so. So having both agreed how important the lead is and the Neil Fife is going to win that battle, why did we both go for the Kenny rink?
I have to say, I thought Peter Wilson would outplay John Joe. It has been a year or two since I've seen Peter playing, but he's from what we've seen, John Joe's team certainly seems to be a lot better.
Save past. Oh.
That's a great shot.
What a shot that
Great
is.
shot. Certainly not short of confidence. Never has been.
And there's the replay there, just shows sweeping that right down onto the button.
I think we'll now see John Joe possibly just put a guard anywhere up that 4 foot line to stop Wilson getting in for a 2.
Yeah, it's almost yet well played. Take the cap off to that one. You're not getting another one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, Wilson and his team would have been looking for at least 2, if not more, before this end started.
Yeah, I don't think Kenny will be too worried about giving up a 1 here. Just want to make the 2 difficult, but it's hanging out this one a wee touch, and they've had to sweep it all the way.
Yeah, I think there's certainly going to be a gap there for him to draw in. Just the same shot as he's played. Yep. Through the hole.
It's tight, but it is there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it was important and we've seen Peter Wilson shouting at one of his players to really sweep his last shot right into the top of the button. Had they left it just fully top 4 foot but lying shot, there possibly wouldn't be enough room to get a second one in there, and it might be quite tight even if it is. If they come to the nose of that yellow, I don't know whether that'll be good enough to be beating that other blue.
No, you might be right there. They might just have to keep this high on the shot stone.
I think when you're so far down in the game, when you're coming round guards, I never think, certainly corner guards, it's never a bad thing to try and get them in quite deep. It always leaves a bit of room for others. Again, they're sweeping this hard, David.
I think they've got it
I think
past.
they're just
They're nicking it. They've
Yeah.
nicked it. Like another great effort up, but just a one.
He was possibly slightly less weight there, I think, David. I think if he had been fully T weight, that possibly would have skipped past the guard. So it's 7-3, 4 down with 3 ends to play.
Yeah, funnily enough, when you say 4 down with 3 ends to play, you certainly wouldn't be walking off at that, would you?
No, and I have to say, I think that the Wilson rink really have had the best of the better of the last 3 ends. You know, after they played that great shot in the third end for his 2,
Yep.
He certainly put a bit of pressure on Kenny to play a good draw in the fourth end against 2 for his win, which he made, and a good shot there by Wilson. He had a chance of a 2 there, and that certainly would have changed the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it is always that dangerous thing of momentum coming from behind. If you're the team that's winning, you just start hitting things you shouldn't maybe be hitting.
That's right. And when you are behind like that in a game, all you're really looking to do is force the one, and take your 2s when you have last stone.
Yep.
Of course, they're running out of ends for that now, so really they'll be looking for 3 steals in a row and possibly trying to force an extra end, steal a 2, 1 end, and another couple of single steals.
And this really does put the pressure on the lead. Needs to stop. It's fine.
Yeah, good
It's
shot.
good there.
You probably couldn't have came up and placed that any better. And straight away we see Kenny asking to throw one into the right hand side of the house as we look at it. He's not wanting to get involved with any corner guards. He certainly doesn't want to, or he's not electing to come round that front guard. So putting the play to the outside of the house.
Would you been tempted to try and come round that one, and if you nick it, you nick it?
Yeah, I think that's a good shot, David. If you catch that stone, sort of quarter stone at T weight, you split the 2 into the house if you like, which then means they can hit the yellow with the lead second stone. I think coming round it is a fantastic shot if you're top of the tee.
Yeah.
But anything behind the tee at all, and it really puts advantage to the Wilson rink straight away.
It's quite interesting again, just to bore people and go back to the Roar of the Rings, watching one of Kevin Martin's games. And if you ever want to learn, people out there want to learn the game of curling, watch a Kevin Martin game that's got microphones, because he literally talks his way through a game. Maybe ignore the game where he throws a stone away.
I don't think Mr. Murdoch will want to forget that game in a while.
No. But it was a shot where it was exactly the scenario you'd say, and his comment on very swingy ice was, that's the best shot to play if we make it.
Yeah.
But we're only 80% sure of making that, so let's go for the 90% option.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really fascinating to hear him speak through that. Interestingly, chose to go to the wing again with this one.
Yeah, I think possibly maybe would have tried to come round. There's a bit more room round that right hand side as we look at it now to get round behind, just as Peter's indicating.
Just with the stagger of the guards there.
Obviously, Peter totally ignoring the 2 blues on the wing. He's going to try and draw a good one in here. And John Joe's obviously pretty confident in his second player, David White, and peeling the guards.
Maybe not the perfect place, but played with the knowledge that Kenny Rink were always going to take the guard off with their next shots. So
Yeah, he's certainly Was that David Smith that played that shot? I remember playing David 3-4 years ago, possibly at the Gormack Trophy, which is, I think it's an Irish run competition at Greenacres. We played them the first game and actually grannied them.
Really?
So yeah, so he certainly came on. He didn't play any shots like that anyway that day.
I haven't quite got rid of the guard, but it should be far enough out of that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
rolled
I think
nicely.
they've done enough. But as again, Peter knows exactly where he wants to be. Even if they get half round this top stone.
I have to say, and I'll show my ignorance so you can tell me why I was wrong. I'd have been tempted to put a guard on the tram line here to leave a couple of paths, maybe not necessarily to the button, but to guard, and again in the knowledge he's probably going to hit it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think the guard is a bad call actually, David. But I think if they can get a good one even half round this top yellow, he doesn't want to be deep though. Yeah, that was a pretty poor shot. I think had that been past the guard, it was going back of the house. We've got your wife Linda in the commentary box. David, do you want to say anything, Linda?
Are you guys bored already?
You're quite involved, Linda, with the volunteers. We might just a wee bit more.
Important game, important role. We are needing drivers, and we're needing people who are interested in doing statistics as well, particularly those who are interested in being involved in our end of ice team. So that involves, for the mixed doubles, setting the stones up, and also putting up scores and filling in scorecards. We also have people who are going to be doing general stewarding, and I've got a couple of ladies who are down just to do general venue cleanliness. They've said they'll happily clean everything that we need cleaned. So there we go. There's jobs for everybody, and I've even got someone who's making tablets, so there you go.
Tablet, excellent. Kay Smith's tablet, is it? Excellent. That tablet kept us going during our world record attempts.
If Mum's listening, I'm sure it won't be as good as yours, Mum.
Well, I'm afraid you're not allowed to say anything like that, Scott, unless not live on air, unless we have some samples. So
I'm sure it can be arranged.
you've got 12 months till you need to crawl for Christmas presents, so you're all right.
So we're seeing Peter trying to play a hit and roll here, but just getting to the nose. Surprising they played that shot, really. I think they were obviously trying to hit and roll in behind the guards there, but even a freeze in the back blue might have been the shot. They're needing to steal this end.
Yeah, I just wonder, even throwing up a guard there.
Yeah, I mean that blue at the back of the button isn't in a bad place. I think PJ Wilson was indicating what he would have liked to have played, but I think I would have liked to have seen them either draw to it, or even, as you say, throw a guard. I mean, it's really boom or bust for them now. You know, they have to score. They have to be. It only takes one good stone when you're trying to steal.
Yeah, I mean, they're like you say, they're 4 down with 3 to play, but 5 down with 2 to play is curtains, really, isn't
Absolutely, yeah, they have to. So I think, I mean, again, they're electing to hit it, but I think I'd be tempted just to play a draw.
it? I suppose they have got a hit and roll behind the guards this time.
Yeah.
And that they would be shot behind the guards as opposed to second shot behind the guards as they would have been last.
Yeah, I
attempt.
think that's right. But even then, Kenny's still going to have the full 4 foot to draw for his one. I think I would like to see just a freeze. I think that's what they've decided on.
Yeah, I think would agree with that. A freeze or even you come up short. It's not a big
No, it's not a
disaster.
disaster. No, that's right.
It's the kind of way I like to play. Plenty of options.
Absolutely.
About 20 foot of leeway is quite nice, but sometimes not enough. And that's up and down the rink before you say it, not left to right.
The sweepers are running out fairly quickly. I think they're going to have to sweep this all the way if they want to get it there.
Yeah, they're
I
working
think
it well.
It's swinging a long way, this.
Yeah, it's it's still it's there as the guard, and to be fair, it's a tricky one for the Kenny rink now. Do they call the bluff and come round that guard now?
I think just really where they're
Yeah.
indicating anywhere up the centre line to or just to the left hand side of the centre line to block any road to that at all, and yeah, I think it's almost game over.
Yeah, you're almost at the stage where Peter Wilson's going to have to play a huge shot, and it's either going to take a 1 or he's going to lose a 3 if this the stone comes in the rings.
Yeah. And obviously, well, John Joe's got last stone this end as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good point. Good to see one commentator paying attention to the game. As long as one of us is, that's fine. So this looks pretty good. Sweeper's working away on it. It's swinging nicely now. I don't think it's going to tuck in behind, but it's certainly going to
I
block
think
the line.
They're pretty happy with it. Maybe just swinging. No, I thought
That's
it maybe
perfect.
just pulled slightly too much, but yeah, there's very, very little on here for Wilson and his team.
It almost has to be a tap up of some description, I would have thought. Maybe he thinks the draw's there. He thinks maybe the draw's there by the gestures.
Yeah, I don't think he's got anything else on though, has he?
No, I think any other shot that's on, maybe coming in off the blue on the right, it's just a gamble shot. So it's
Yeah, I think they're going to have to. I think they're having to sweep this hard for a weight again. But no, they're off it now. The line's possibly just too high though.
it's going to need it for weight. It's going to sit out in the open. If it gets in for fourth,
Yeah, I think we'll possibly see a shake of the hand. I don't think we'll see Kenny going anywhere near the
I
yellow.
was just going to say I might be even tempted to come down the other side of the sheet,
Yeah.
or even play a hit and roll off my own one.
Blue, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even try and hit something on board E. Just don't want to touch a yellow. That's the main thing.
Yeah. certainly seemed to swing across us from the centre line anyway. I'm sure we'll see the offer of the handshake.
Yep, they're maybe using it as practice, or they have to stay on, one of the two.
Well, that's 6 ends played now. Do we think that was a 3? Yeah, I think so. The score hasn't been put up the other end yet, but I'm almost certain it was a 3.
We've called it on the graphics anyway.
I think we'll see I was going to say the Irish team there.
You can always rely on you, Scott. There's always one comment a game.
I think we'll see John Joe Kenny and his team play, keep this very open, and I would expect Neil Fife to be throwing this through the house.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to hang around short of the rings. Yeah, you see from the camera there, John Joe Kenny's just about holding the brush at the far end. Some discussion there. I just wonder about the ice maybe, but certainly from what we've seen, it's looked pretty good.
I don't think there can be any complaints with it at all, David.
It's looked quite a nice consistent swing right out to the wings anyway. From always dead easy from up here when we're playing 100%, but no, it's looked very good so far. I know the boys did quite a lot of work on it today. I know Graham was overseeing a bit of work, shall we say?
Was he?
Yeah,
right,
I
good,
think he was throwing a few stones for the rest of the guys. So
yeah. Well, as we said before, if he was throwing them in his intern, it would.
They'd be trying to straighten it up a bit.
And again, we see Neil Fife throw one straight through the middle of the house. We'll see it come into shot in a minute. There we go.
Take it, you wouldn't even try the tick. It's far enough off the centre line.
Yeah,
you just
I
risk
think
leaving 2 stones lying about.
And it's confirmed now it was a 3, so they're 10-3 up, I think, yeah. There's no point in getting involved with any of that. I have to say I am surprised to see them play another end.
I certainly think if I was the Wilson Rink, you may be thinking about practice, but I can't see him thinking about that. I think you just want to get off, get something to eat, regroup, work out where it went wrong, why it went wrong, or just simply write it off. Start the competition again tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the best of 5 they'll be looking to just write it off, David, and trying tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, absolutely. But it does make that first game a kind of must-win game, doesn't it? It's tough to come back from 2-0 down.
2-0 down, absolutely, yeah. And I have to say, from what we've seen tonight, you would have to favour the Kenny Rink to go on and possibly even win it 3-0.
Yeah.
They certainly have been the better team by a long way this evening.
They've looked like the only team that's going to score a big end at any point. I think it's fair to say the Skipstones have kept the Wilson Rink in the game. Just peeled off. I always find that depressing when you're chasing a game and you want guards and all of a sudden there's nothing.
Yeah, certainly nowadays at the very top of the game, at the top level, you see Leeds trying to place us. It's all about placing the stones. It's not just getting a centre guard on or a corner guard on. It's actually whereabouts on the centre line they want them, or whereabouts in the corners, trying to stop any double takeouts or possibility of any doubles.
Yeah, trying to set angles, and even go as far as favouring what hand the skip prefers to go down with last stones and everything like that.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of that goes on. I have to say, Wilson's team are setting these up fairly good, pretty level again. Having said that, I think Kenny being 7 up as he is, he would just be playing a single peel anyway. Even if there was a double there, I think we would just see him take the single peel.
Yeah, one guard should only see you lose a 2 at the most, really.
No, that's right.
I wonder if that one was a wee bit high, and it is. He just swept it to avoid chipping it to the centre line.
Exactly.
So a wee glimmer of hope here.
But again, Peter's tapping the top of the house here that he wants it just top 12 foot. This is where I wouldn't even mind seeing it going back 12 foot so that there's plenty of room to get another one behind there if they miss.
I think it's you've maybe got more chance of the opposition ignoring it if it's in the back of the rings as well.
Yeah,
I know it's maybe not textbook, but
I think wherever this one goes, unless they can see it in the house, I think you'll find that it'll just be taking the guards off.
Something well round the guard. If it's there, really need it to be there though. You still be going for the single guard here?
Yeah, I think so. Just take the top one off. I mean, he's obviously looking to try and take both of them, but
It brings the jam into play a wee bit.
well, it does. The angles aren't great to take both of them.
It's got a chance of spinning a yellow behind the guard on the other side if you're going for the double as well. So
yeah. I have to say, Bill Gray isn't a curler I can ever remember seeing, but he's certainly playing the shots well tonight. Do we know if there's much funding available for the top Irish teams or not?
I have a notion no. From a couple of years ago having a chat about it. Although very similar to the Scottish setup, I believe the seniors generally have to pay their way.
Yeah.
I think they do get a contribution, but it obviously depends where the competitions are. But
That was a nice drawing behind the guard that time.
and just getting rid of their own stone.
Yeah, and straight away we see Peter calling behind the other guard now.
This all of a sudden just gets a wee bit risky for the Kenny rink. We get a good one here, and it's still pretty open.
Yeah.
I'm grasping at straws there for the Wilson rink, I think.
Yeah, I think even if we see them lie too, it'll be interesting to see what the Kenny rink do. Obviously they're electing to hit the open one now because the other one isn't in.
Peter just taking himself off to the next rink to have a chat to the curlers playing next door.
This one's swinging a wee bit. Yeah. Now then.
Backing behind the guard.
Yes. But I hate to say it, even a score of 2 here for the Wilson rink, and I think we'll still see them shake hands.
For the third end in a row. I reckon you'll be right this end or the next end.
We'd both get a shock if it was 10 ends we're playing.
We'll be ordering some takeaway, I'll tell you. Given how it has been reasonably one-sided, it's still been quite an interesting game to watch. Certainly, 8 ends of, or certainly 7 we've played pretty much so far have passed pretty quickly. Bodes well for the remaining 4 games of the weekend, hopefully, from a neutral point of view. Hopefully we do get the 4.
Yeah, I'll be keeping a close eye on what the results are. Obviously, we're heading up to Glasgow first thing in the morning, so again, that was a pretty poor shot there, wasn't it? He had the back in, but just didn't seem to play it heavy enough.
Yeah, it's always hard to keep focused, and you probably know you've lost the game.
I think after the second end, they knew they'd lost the game.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair comment.
Can hear a bit of laughter in the background up here in the audience. I think that must be the Kenny fans.
Yeah, Kenny fans and Andrew Morton as well, I think. I recognise that laugh. He played in our Super League team with Graham, so had quite a good excuse to laugh occasionally the last couple of seasons back. Alison White up here as well, Ross's mother. And nearly flirted with a problem.
Nearly a mistake.
Now, is that yellow in at the front?
Well, I think they're both in, and Peter certainly indicated that yellow's shot. They're now looking at the hole to see how close or how well drilled. I think this is a draw for 2.
And just as that's played, there is the yellow stone. So do we think that's in or out?
No, I think it is in. I actually think the blue one's in as well, the way they've been looking at them. And I think he's there, isn't he?
I think he is.
I think that'll be two yellow, and the handshake comes.
There's a handshake anyway.
So well done to John Kenny and his team of Neil Fife, David White and Bill Gray. Fairly convincing 10-5 win. Well, I hope the other games are slightly better to watch over the next couple of days, David.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. I'm sure they'll get closer as they go on. And thank you very much for doing the commentary tonight, Scott.
Yeah, no bother.
It's much appreciated, and certainly best of luck for the Scottish this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see how we get on.
Keep your skip under control. Make sure he turns up for the games.
Well, I've been under strict instructions to pick him up, and he's in Glasgow for a night out tonight. So I have to pick him up first thing in the morning in the middle of Glasgow somewhere.
Nice and specific there, yep. I think we better call it a night at that.
I think so.
You better go and start tracking him down. Thanks again, Scott. And we're back at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for the second game in this 5-match programme. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.